Today, Linux administration, we are going to see the first class, that is disk management. That is disk management or file system management. So this is the first Linux administration class we are going to discuss. So after installation of Linux, so if you want to install any softwares, see after installation of Linux, if you want to install any softwares like Oracle, Hadoop and SAP, we need to create new partitions, format the partitions and mount the partitions. Like in Windows, how we are going to create a D drive, E drive, F drive. Like that in Linux, how to create the new partitions to install the softwares. So that is the class today we are going to start. So first, before going to create any partition, you need to see the available disks in Linux. So to see the available disks and existing partitions in Linux, command is fdisk space -l. So the disk is /store/sta. This is the only hard disk we have. So these are the partitions are created, sta 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So total 5 partitions already created at the time of installation of Linux. The total free space in the disk is extended partition. Approximately 9 GB is there. So in that extended partition, we created one logical partition. Like that, you can create up to 64 partitions here. So these are the total cylinders. The space is divided into some small blocks. Those are called cylinders. So 14282 2611 are the total. So you selected 14292 1556 one partition. Free cylinders are 15572 2611. Now creating a new partition, command is fdisk space disk name. So to create a new partition, command is fdisk space disk name. So give enter. You can enter into the partition table prompt. This is command prompt. Give the command P. It displays the existing partition table. So already these are the partitions are created. Now I am going to create a new partition. Command is N. So first cylinder number 1557. Give the size, I am giving in 100 MB. 100 M, capital M. So again give the P whether the partition is created or not. So sixth partition is created. Now again I am going to create another partition N. Starting cylinder number is 1571. Cylinder number is 1571. Size is 100 MB. So you have to check your last partition's last cylinder number. Then give to the next cylinder numbers first cylinder. So these are the partitions we created 6 and 7. Save the partition table W. One error will come here. So rereading the partition table is failed. So you have to use, the kernel still uses the old table. The new table will be used at next reboot. But in real-time scenarios, the servers cannot be reboot. So without rebooting, I want to update the new partition table information to kernel. So then you can give the command partex -a disk name /2/sta. So first time it will show you only old table 1 to 5 partitions, but we created new partition 6 to 7. Run the command second time. Then it will show you 6 and 7. So now new partitions are created. Now you want to write the data in these partitions. So you have to format it. So to format into ext3, so I am telling you two file systems. ext3 is the old version, ext4 is the latest version. Both I am showing you. And then we can see how to convert from 3 to 4. So mkfs.ext3 partition number /2/sta6 formatted. After formatting the partition, you want to write the data. To write the data, you need an address that is nothing but a directory. Like in Windows, D drive, E drive, F drive, automatically it will assign. Linux, we have to assign. So create one directory, mkdir/oracle, then mount it. Mount space /2/sta6/oracle. Now to see the mounted file systems with size, df-h. So like in Windows, if you open my computer, you can see C drive, D drive, E drive. Like in Linux, we can see like this. In our system, we have a / is the operating system directory. Boot is the portable partitions location. Home is the user's home directory. This is the DVD drive. Just now we created one partition and formatted with ext3. We mounted with Oracle. Like here you can think as a drives in Linux or Windows. Here we can call as a directories. So now this is not permanent mounted. This is temporary. So I want to mount this file system permanently. Open the file a/it/fs tab. Go to last line, escape shift G, insert a new line, escape O, partition number /2/sta6, mount point is Oracle. So file system type is ext3, mount options or permissions are defaults 0, 0. So entry point of view, they will ask the question, what are the fields in fstab file? So first field is device name, second field is the mount point, third field is the file system type, fourth field is permissions or mount options. So fifth field is 0. So fs dump value means file system dump value. 0 means if you take or not take the file system backup, that is not a problem. But here while installing operating system, you given /boot to home. So value 1 is there. 1 means compulsory one time take the backup. So this is not compulsory. That is just to indication. See, if it is 0 or 1, that is not a problem. 1 means it means to take backup one time. If you take or not take, that is not a problem. But to safe side, you have to take the backup. Next value is again 0 here. This is FSCK pass number, FSCK pass value. So 0 means randomly check the file system errors while booting the operating system. Here root file system 1 is there, sequentially check the file system errors. 2 means parallelly check the file system errors. So for root file system only value 1 is given, remaining all the partitions, because we can have number of disks and number of partitions on real-time environment. So it will check parallelly one by one, one disk, second disk partition, first disk, second disk partition, first disk, second disk partition, like that. So that is the reason. Except root, remaining you can give the value to 0 means parallelly, randomly. So while booting, it will check randomly of file system errors. So these things we have to remember. Next, after mounting the file, after permanently mounting, we have to unmount it. Unmount is online, offline, again mount it. Mount means online. So if you have any errors, it will show you. If you do any small mistake in fstab file, if you reboot your server, so it will not boot, it will go into the maintenance mode. That is the reason. While you return the entry in fstab file, first you can check, first unmount it and mount it. If any error is there, here only it will show, then you can rectify the errors. Any spelling mistakes, any spaces we given, any wrong file system type we given, it will show the error. Next, formatting the partition into ext4, mkfs.ext4 space partition number //sta7. So sixth partition we formatted into ext3, fourth partition we are formatting into ext7. Sorry, ext4. So sixth partition we formatted into ext3, seventh partition we are formatting into ext4. So it is formatted. After formatting, to write the data, create one directory, then mount it. Mount space //sta7 Hadoop. So mounting is nothing but attaching a directory to the partition. So you mounted. Now to see the mounted file systems with size, df space -h. Now it is mounted. So Oracle is permanently mounted. Hadoop is temporarily mounted. So I want to mount permanently. So permanently means you open the file, va space /et/fs tab, go to last line, insert a new line, write down the entry. File system type is ext4. Mount options or permissions are defaults 0, 0. Save the file. Now unmount it, mount it. Then you can get error. If any error is there, you can get here only. Otherwise, if you mount like this, if you reboot like this, error will come. So mount Hadoop /Hadoop. So no error. So like this, while creating partitions, you have to use the command fdisk space disk name, then enter into the partition table, create the partitions, and format the partitions and mount the partitions. Now to see the mounted file systems with file system type, command is df space -T. So it will show you all the partitions are formatted which file systems, what are the file system types. So DVD IS49660, sixth partition we formatted into ext3, seventh partition we formatted into ext4. Like this it will display. Now to see the file systems with permissions, command is mount. So by default every file system has a read write permission. Now go to Oracle, you can give the command ls. It shows last plus found is a directory which can save your unsaved data when the file system is corrupted. Then while you are recovering your file system, automatically it will get the data from this directory. So how do you find out file system directory or normal directory? So you can see last place found in file system directories. Now I am creating some data here. Now come out from that and mount the file system Oracle. Now go to Oracle. You can check nothing is there. So when it is mounted state only, it will show your data and it shows the last place found directory. When it is unmounted, it becomes as a normal directory. It will show you nothing. So again I am mounting. Mount space Oracle. Now go to Oracle directory. You can check the data. So mounting means online, unmounting means offline. So what are the reasons to unmount the file systems? If you want to check the errors in a file system, if you want to take the backups, if you want to change any parameters of a file system, we are going to be unmount. Now see, in some applications we have to unmount the file system. Sorry, some applications we have to mount the file systems with read-only permissions. So I want to unmount the file system with read-only permission. So nobody can write the data in this file system. So first unmount it. Mount space -o ro partition number //sta6. Mount point is Oracle. Now go to Oracle directory. Try to write the data. So you cannot write the data because I mounted this file system with read-only permission. What is the command to see the mounted file systems with permissions? Command is just now we seen mount. So it is mounted with read only. Like that, in interview point of view, when they ask the question how to mount the file system with read only permission, command is mount space -o means option space what is the option, ro means read only, on which partition /2/sta6, what is the mount point /oracle. So if you want to know whether the directory is a normal directory or file system directory, you can use the command mount point /oracle. So oracle is a mount point. So unmount it. Now check oracle is a normal directory or mount point directory. So give the command mount point space oracle. Now oracle is not a mount point. So when it is mounted, it becomes as a mount point directory. When it is in unmounted state, it becomes as a normal directory. Remember that command. Then converting the file system from ext3 to ext4. So sometimes when you are working on real-time servers, some file systems may be in ext3 formatted partitions, previous versions. So if your company wants to convert into ext4, how to convert? So unmount the file system oracle. So unmounted state only. So now I want to convert into ext4. So again I am mounting, I am showing you df-T. It is formatted into ext3. Now I want to convert into ext4. So before going to convert, you have to unmount it. Now convert. Tune to fs space -O means option, dir index, directory index change, extents means ext4 is the large file system. It supports a exabyte of a single partition. So init_bg, change the block group descriptors. Partition number is /2/sta6. So here some message came, please run e2fsck. E2fsck is the command to run the consistency of a file system and repairs the file system errors. So run the command e2fsck space /2/sta6. So it will reinitialize the partition. So press F, it will fix all the reinitialization concepts. Now mount it. Mount space /2/sta6/oracle. Now see the file system type df space -T. Now file system type C, converted from ext3 to ext4. Now check the data. Data is not going to be changed. So without losing your data, you can convert the file systems. But fs tab, manually you can change the file system type. Open va/etc/fs tab. Here previously we given the file system type ext3, escape or replace a character 4. So if you are not change the file system type here, when you reboot or when you access the file system, unmount and mount errors will come. So save the file. Next, to unmount all the file systems, command is umount space -a. Now df-h, all file systems are unmounted. To mount all file systems, mount space -a. Now again you can check. So all file systems are unmounted. So except root and swap file system, they are operating system directory. Another one is temporary memory. They cannot be unmounted. Remaining all are unmounted. And again, once you given the command mount space -a, all are mounted. Now entry point of view, they will ask another question. So all the file systems are unmounted state. Now I want to know, so how many partitions are created and which file systems they are formatted. You can use the command blkid. So blkid is a command to display all the partitions which are mounted or unmounted. With the UUID means universal unique identification number. Every partition has its own identification number, and it shows the file system type here. See, everything it will display. So this is the command you have to remember. Entry point of view, when the file systems are unmounted state, mounted state you have to know df-T, df-h which are mounted, everything. But when they are unmounted, You have to know by using the command blkid the partitions how many created and formatted with each file system type. Next, to assign a label name to file system. So label name is nothing but we can give for any name of a partition. So in Windows we can give the name names to drives, like you can right click on D drive, you can right click on E drive, you can give some name. Like that in Linux also you can give the names to some partitions or STA6 or STA7 like that. So that names are called label names. So to assign a label name, see the label names, E2 label, partition number, no label name is there. I am assigning. So now check the label name. So now the partition name I given as a Vora. So you can permanent the label name. So open the file va space/etc/fs tab. So instead of partition number, you can assign capital letters label equal to /Vora. Like that, because in real-time scenarios we can have number of disks and number of partitions. You can confuse which partition is mounted on which file system. Just Vora, SAP, Hadoop, WebSphere, like that we can give some names. Then you can easily understand. Save the file. Next, to check the users who are accessing the file system. For example, I am in Oracle directory. I am trying to unmount. So Oracle is not mounted. I am mounting Oracle now. Now I am going to Oracle directory. I am trying to unmount. See, this error will come, device is busy. Interview they will ask the question, when I am trying to unmount a file system, it is not unmounting, what are the reasons? If you are in the directory, it cannot be unmount. If you share the directory across the line, across the LAN, means across the network, it cannot be unmount. If any users are accessing the file system, it cannot be unmount. Now, how do you know the users who are accessing the file system? fuser -cu mount point Oracle. So root is accessing this file system because we logged in as a root user. We are in the Oracle directory. That is the reason it shows you root user. In real times, maybe Ali, Siva, Raj, Ram who are accessing, it shows their usernames and process IDs. Now they will ask you how to kill the process forcefully. fuser -ck partition number mount point. So whatever the users they are having, they are accessing the file system, I want to kill and I want unmount. So use this command fuser space -ck space partition number. So killed, all the user processes are killed. Then you can open the terminal, unmount the partition. So like this, entry point of view, you have to give the answers to see the mounted file systems who are accessing. Command is fuser -cu to kill the processes of users, fuser space -ck. Next, to logical parameters of a file system. See, when we format the partition, it created some logical parameters. So those logical parameters are physical block. It is used by hard disk to read write data. The default physical block size is 512 bytes. And logical block, it is used by kernel to read write data from the disk. The default logical block size in Linux is 4 KB. You can also use 2 KB and 1 KB blocks. So because some database administrator wants you small blocks, but by default block size is 4 KB. They want small block 2 KB or 1 KB. So as a Linux administrator, you have to change. How to change we are going to see by the commands. Next, to min free space. So when we format the partition, some of the disk space is reserved. This space is called min free space. the administrator can only write the data in that space. We can set a minimum free space up to 50%. So default is 5%. So you can set the minimum free space up to 50%. The default min free space is 5%. So as a Linux administrator, you can set the minimum free space up to 50%. So this is we have to remember. Now see how to change the logical parameters. So before going to change the logical parameters, how to see the complete parameters of a file system. So to see the complete parameters of a file system, command is dump u2 fs space partition number sta6 space pipe more. I want to know what are the parameters are created for this file system. So command is dump u2 fs space partition number /2/sta6 pipe more. More means page wise. So here you can see file system type clean, file system state clean, file system OS type is Linux, inodes, blocks, free blocks, everything you have to explain in interviews. They will ask the question. When the file system is created, date and time, when it is last mounted, when the last written the data, and what are the cylinder groups are created. Everything you have to see here. Now, to change the logical block size of a file system, just now default logical block size is 4 KB. So you can unmount the file system. So Oracle is unmounted state only. Just now we unmounted. Now I want to change the logical block size. mku2fs -n. N means do not format, but to change the logical block size to 2048. Partition number is /2/sta6. So if you forget to give -n, it will format the partition, whatever the databases you are having completely gone. So carefully you have to run this type of commands in Linux. Otherwise, without any warning, it will delete entire thing. So -n, don't format, but change the logical block size. So the logical block size is 2 KB. Logical block size is created. Now mount it. Mount space Oracle. So like this already formatted partition, you changed the logical block size. Next to df-h. Now Oracle is mounted state. This is the available space. Already we discussed 5% is minimum free space. If you select 100 MB, 5% is reserved. If you select 1 GB, 5% is reserved. So I can make it reserve percentage up to 50%. But now I want to make to 20%. So tune to fs -m %20. -m means minimum free space /2/sta6. So setting reserved blocks percentage to 20%. df-h. Now see available size is 79. So before that 96 MB they can write the data, normal users. Now normal users can write the data 79 MB only. Remaining percent is reserved for administrator. Next, physical parameters of a file system, ext file system. Logical parameters we see now. Physical structure of ext file system. See boot block. So and when you format the partition, the structure is create logical parameters, physical parameters. So physical boot block, the boot block is located in first few sectors in the file system and contains the information of booting the system. So without a boot block, the system does not boot. So whatever you formatted your partition, so first few sectors it will use for boot block. So in Linux, the bootable blocks are located under / directory only, because / is the operating system directory. So remaining for partitions also you are formatting, but this boot blocks, it will keep it empty. So next to super block located in few blocks in the file system and contains the information of a file system. which information? File system name, file system status, date and time when the file system is created. So when the superblock is corrupted, the file system becomes unreadable. So in which scenarios maybe the superblock is going to be correct means when the file system is mounted state, if you take the backup, when the file system is mounted state, if you run the uh, error commands, file system checking commands. So in that scenarios, when the file system is mounted state, the server is suddenly shut down, maybe superblock is going to be corrupted. So it becomes unreadable. Your data is safe, but you cannot access it. Then as a Linux administrator, you have to choose alternate superblocks. We are going to see in the commands. Next to cylinder groups. So when we create a partition, the space is divided into cylinders. In our practical already we seen first cylinder number size you selected automatically divide the space into cylinders. The cylinder groups improves the disk performance. Next inode block. An inode contains the information of a file except its name. So for example, type of file, file is which type, mode of file, the file has which permissions, and the number of bytes used by the file. So this information stored under the inode block. So kernel can understand the file with inode number, administrator can understand with name. Next data blocks. So data blocks are also called as storage blocks. So they contains the data of a file. Contains the data of a file. So data blocks, whatever the data you are writing, it stores on the data blocks. Now, to check the consistency of a file system and repair the file system errors, command is e2fsck. So I want to check whether the file system having any errors or not. Run this command. So this is check the file system errors and fix the file system errors. This is manually fixing the file system errors. So there is a error warning. See, when you are going to check the file system errors, you must unmount it. Just now I told you. So if you run the commands of checking the file system errors when mounted state, the superblock is going to be corrupt. So I don't want to run here. So unmount it. Now run this command. So the file system is clean. If there is any errors, it will stop at each and every error. It will ask you to fix the error. This is manually checking and fixing the file system errors. Now automatically fixing the file system errors, you can use the option -p. P means auto repair. So file system is clean. If it is not clean, it will fix the errors automatically. Now interview they will ask the question, in how many phases the file system check the consistency. So you can run the command e2fsck-f. Now it will check in 5 phases: inodes and blocks and sizes, directory structure, directory connectivity, reference counts, group summary. Like this will also they will ask interview. In how many phases the file system runs the consistency? 5 phases. So you have to run this command, you have to write down the notes in how many phases. If they are will ask the question, if you put the experience 3+ or 4 years, then only this type of questions they will ask, otherwise they will not ask this type of questions. Next, how to fix the superblock error. So if you want to fix the superblock error, we have to unmount it. Already we unmounted. So before going to fix the superblock error, you have to know alternate superblocks. So mku2fs-n. Already I given the example of -n. Do not format, but show the contents of this file. So here you can see superblock backups stored on the following blocks. Already given the notes. Superblocks located in different blocks on the file system. So while formatting, we have a primary superblock. It will take backup on different locations. If primary superblock is corrupted, we can choose alternate superblocks. How to see alternate superblocks means mke2fs-n partition number. Now to fix the superblock error, e2fsck-b. So superblock number, first one I am taking, you can take any number, 8193 partition number /2/sta6. So to fix the error, e2fsck-b superblock number 8193 partition number. So it will ask you to fix the error. Yes. So file system was modified. Now mount the file system. So So if you practice properly the disk management class, you can get this type of error. See how to fix the errors. This is not a experience. This is a experience. So once you practice properly, you can get many errors. Troubleshooting the errors, knowing the answers for the errors is nothing but a experience. While in interview they will ask the questions, you can give the properly answer if you practice properly. If you are not practicing, you cannot get any error. You cannot have the troubleshooting issues. Okay, this is our first class, disk management. So tomorrow we are going to see our next class.